Unbelievable. Oh, my goodness.
SHW. This is our wrestling.
This is insane. Are you kidding me right now? Hey, what is going on here? The action is fast and furious. You never know who's going to show up in SHW.
Brandon Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
Business is about to pick up. This place just went ballistic. What is going on, everybody? We're back. It's the SHW podcast. SHW, this is our wrestling. B double Brandon Benefield, GB Gerard Bonner, and we're hoping that here in a little bit, the one and only Diana Michelle will be joining us as well. But, we took last week off. It was a short week, kind of the holiday week, and now we're back and ready to kind of recap what happened at SHW 31, which turned out to be one of the wackiest shows we've had, I feel like.
Let me tell you something. It has been an insane time. This summer of wrestling has been crazy everywhere, and SHW 31 certainly didn't disappoint. It never does, quite frankly. So I think we have had a chance to hopefully recover from the night, which took us everywhere. It was the roller coaster ride that we didn't know we would need. And you started it, sir, since your appetite, you just can't seem to contain it.
Let me just say, all right.
Oh, well, please explain yourself.
There was a tray of delicious cupcakes sitting underneath our commentary table. Nobody clued me in as to why they were there. You didn't seem to know why they were there.
I didn't even know they were there.
I'm like, hey, you can't put a guy that loves sweets. You can't put a bunch of cupcakes at my feet.
You couldn't even wait till intermission. I mean,
here was my thinking. My thinking was, okay, so the show started out with the Petty Party, the return of the Petty Party, which they were dubbing it an SHW Tag Team Championship celebration, which we all know that they wrongfully had possession of the title belts, and they were celebrating. And I thought, well, all right, the Petty Party's going on. They're going to have the mic. They're going to be talking for a few minutes. Then nobody needs
just
to hear
sneak
me right
one
now,
in.
and I'll sneak one in. I offered you. I said, you want one?
No.
You stayed professional.
I did my best.
I gotta admit, I couldn't contain myself. So I'm digging in. Next thing I know, and I gotta be honest, I'm not even really listening to what's going on in the ring. And next thing I know, Ashton and Zicky are staring daggers at me.
Yeah, they are.
And, you've seen the pictures, and you may have even seen it on IWTV at this point.
At this point, yeah.
Luckily, I will say this. And let me just back up a second. I never have any intentions of getting into the ring. Unless perhaps I'm going to be interviewing somebody or something like that. But I'm very much comfortable sitting at the commentary booth and not stepping through the ropes. For one thing, I don't want to disrespect the wrestlers because I myself am not a wrestler, and there's no reason for me to get in the ring.
Right.
So when Zicky Dice is staring at me and yelling at me to get in the ring and bring the cupcakes, my knees were knocking, man. My legs were shaking. I was like, oh, wait,
I'm
what?
sure. I mean, and not just that, but they were these, special cupcakes that were flown in from another country. And
I don't know. The sticker on there said they were from Kroger. You mentioned they were maybe Kroger.
Well, no, it was Crozier.
Oh.
It was Crozier. That's what it was.
I don't see because, I didn't.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, that's what they're doing in the foreign countries, man. And you just, golly, man. Crozier. And I wasn't messing with him at all.
Well, I will say, so we knew that the first match of the night was going to be Chip Day and Kyle Matthews, the actual SHW Tag Team Champions, in a title match defending against the Revolt, who were returning to SHW after quite a while since we had seen them. So I'm in the ring. He's in my face, or they're both in my face, kind of berating me and I don't know if you ever are familiar with the movie Matilda. It came out in the 90s. It's kind of like a little kid's movie, but my younger sisters love that movie, right? Well,
Okay.
there's a part in the movie where there's kind of the little chubby kid and the teacher or the principal or whoever it is, like forcing him to eat because he wanted to eat the chocolate cake, and they were
Oh.
forcing him to eat the whole thing.
Oh.
Oh, you wanted that bad? Well, you just eat the whole thing. Well,
Eat the cake anime.
it's
Mhm.
basically it's basically what Zicky Dice pulled on me, which was like, you want to eat my birthday cupcakes? Well,
Mhm.
you're gonna eat the whole tray right here in front of everybody, and
Yeah.
it was that close. And
Mhm.
luckily, I see coming because they had their backs to the ramp, and I could
Yeah.
see Technical Excellence making their way down, and
They
whew,
saved your hide, buddy.
just in the nick of time, dude.
Yeah.
I was able to bail out, and it was.
I would have made for a very long night with you filled with cupcakes trying to call a match.
You would have just been like, oh,
Yeah.
you'd
Oh
hear me
gosh.
groaning, moaning and groaning the whole
It would
show.
have been
But
bad. It would have
yeah,
been very, very bad. So thank you, Chip Day, and thank you, Kyle Matthews, for saving my partner here because,
yeah, that worked
you
out
know,
nicely. And then of course we saw the Revolt showed up. We had Zane
yeah,
Riley and Caleb with a K
with a K.
showed up, and we hadn't seen them in a while. It had been
Right.
quite some time, and I think you even mentioned on commentary that coincidentally, even
Mm-hmm.
this was before the tag titles even existed.
Right.
But the two teams that they had faced prior at different
Mm-hmm.
times,
Yeah.
one being the Lynch brothers and another
Yes.
being Lethal Poison, who
Mm-hmm.
both of those teams would go on to win the tag titles. So
Yes.
it kind of only made sense. And in both of those showings, they looked amazing. We know they're well established all over the country and
Yeah.
just a really great tag team. And so to come in and get a title shot, we were very excited to see it. It was another great match.
Yeah.
But technical excellence, able to hang on to the title. Well, technically they didn't hang on to the belts because
Well, but they are
Zicky,
still very much the
yeah,
champions for
Zicky and
sure.
Ashton still maintain possession of the title belts,
Well,
unfortunately.
now it makes me wonder if Zicky and Ashton, I have to call him by his name now. I do like calling him Big Head though. But, hey, either way, I wonder if they use the tag belts as collateral to be able to, get those special cupcakes flown in. I think they said it was from Honduras, from Kosher. And I mean, like, that's just,
I love
it's
that you keep saying Crozier. That's my
I
favorite.
mean, it's amazing to me. It is amazing. But I'll
They
say
were
this.
they were delicious.
See?
They were.
So
Yeah.
man, the sad part was I was hungry by the end of the show, and of course they were nowhere to be found. But
Oh, so
that's probably
yeah.
a better time to eat them than
In case you didn't notice, or if you didn't see it on the show, I don't
Yeah.
know exactly what made it into the video,
Yeah.
but the tray got snatched away from me by Zicky. So Zicky did
Mhm.
end up with them, and I think
Yeah.
a few of them actually. There's a couple that kind of went flying into the front row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
But
was a little
anyways.
upset, and I understand. But
And if you notice, by the way, as I don't know, I didn't notice this until much later when the pictures got released by
Yeah.
our buddy Corey, Wrestling Snapshots, posted these
Yes.
photos, and there's a picture of the Revolt on the stage as they're making their entrance,
Yeah.
and it's Zane Riley standing up behind, and then Caleb is down on a knee in front of him,
Yeah.
and Zane Riley's holding a cupcake.
That's
So
right.
he
I
ended
did
up with
see
one,
that.
and it's so funny because in the picture, Caleb looks like he's like longingly looking at this cupcake, like
Man.
wondering like, how come I didn't get one?
Listen, my birthday is in October. So if anybody feels like, sending anything from, a special country from elsewhere or what have you, Crozier,
Yeah.
by all means, or Publi, like either of those places, by all means, I'm completely
Oh, man.
game. Okay. I'm totally game, but I'm grateful for Technical Excellence, who has had an incredible tag team title run. And, when we do talk about the anniversary, which we found a lot out about the anniversary on SHW 31,
Yeah.
it's going to be quite the match. And hopefully they'll be able to actually get their straps back in possession, as they have been incredible tag team champions. And as the history of SHW continues to be written, I think the chapter written for the tag team championships by Technical Excellence will be among the best, because right now they've defended more than pretty much anybody. They have been nonstop. So shout out to Technical Excellence.
Absolutely. Some of our great champions here at
Yes.
SHW. And After that, we had, oh, and look, GB, before we get to this next match, we have a special guest joining us. Well, one of our normal co-hosts who is here, the lovely Diana Michelle, while she gets situated here and gets the audio connected.
Yes, there she is.
Hello. I know you can see her. Now, I think there's the
hear?
audio. Yeah.
There we go.
Do I need to flip my?
Sure.
Yeah.
Flip it. There you go.
There we go.
Okay, so my tripod broke. So I'm on the floor.
Hey, that's all right.
Oh, wow.
You're here. That's the main thing. We just got done talking about the opening match, which is technical excellence and the revolt, and we were just getting to the second match of SHW 31, which unfortunately for Jordan Kingsley was the Nightwalker versus Cyrus the Destroyer.
It was a total destroying of the poor Nightwalker. I was not feeling good for him that night. Not at all.
Cyrus definitely lived up to his name.
Yes. It was scary to watch. It was awful.
It was incredibly scary. And again, Cyrus is a killer. And, there were moments, I have to give it to Jordan. Jordan came on the pre-show and said he had a plan.
Yep.
And he came right out, didn't even let you get his name fully out, Diana, before he went and jumped Cyrus. And, he did. What can you do against a guy like Cyrus? Like, I don't have a strategy as to how to beat him. All of his high flying moves didn't really do as much as, it might have against.
Like a gnat.
Yeah. It was like, get off me.
It's like, it's like jumping into a brick wall. And just
right.
mad. And you mentioned he showed up on the pre-show surprisingly, because as we say on the pre-show, it's kind of like SHW. You never know who's going to show up. Apparently,
right.
We've had Hanson show up before, and of course past show we had Kingsley showed up, and he mentioned you questioned him about his strategy, and he mentioned that plan, and we wondered what he was thinking, and he's like, you know what, I got to get backstage and kind of get this figured out, and it turned out that part of that plan was the return, apparently, of his former tag team partner.
Yeah, who saw that coming?
I did not see that coming. I don't think anybody did. Yeah, and it was good to see him back, but it was a little too late after Jordan got destroyed. However, after that, we heard from Gary Lamb, and you mentioned one thing we heard was the tag championship match is going to be Tech X versus Zicky and Ashton. Another thing he mentioned was that it will be Cyrus the Destroyer in a handicap match against Not Yet Rated, Jordan Kingsley and Kevin Ryan.
What do you think?
Well, I think this is good for Not Yet Rated from the perspective of, 2 is better than 1, certainly when you're battling somebody the size of Cyrus. Right. I don't know if it's going to further upset Cyrus, right? And that's what I'm concerned about. I mean, Cyrus is a guy who, it takes a nation of millions to hold him back. And I don't know that, and I don't want to take anything away from Not Yet Rated, but there's a couple of things. First of all, they are accustomed to fighting in tag team matches, right? They're also not accustomed to battling an opponent the size of Cyrus. And they've not teamed together in months.
Right.
So I don't know where they're going to be on this, but I do know they're going to need to come up with a master plan because I'm not going to say Cyrus can't be beat. We just don't know how.
Yeah.
Well, it would definitely be better for them with them being fresh rather than Kingsley being beat to God knows what. And then Kevin come out to try to help out. So them coming together, as fast and as high flying as they both are, it might be more of an advantage for them. But like you said, it's Cyrus. I mean, it's like, how do you beat him? How do you put the big man on the mat?
I would say use a truck, but he apparently can push those too. He can pull a truck. So I don't know. I think the way you beat him is stay away from him. Like, just don't sign the match, go away. And
take the night off. Yeah.
Jordan has so much heart. He has to get his redemption there. So he's going to come regardless of what the fate is for him and Kevin. But I don't know.
Agree.
It's going to be interesting.
Yep.
It will be.
One way to find out, show up October 8th at Still Here 3, the 3-year anniversary. And, of course, that's not all we found out coming up for October 8th. Well, when we mentioned Gary was in the ring, he mentioned the tag title match. He mentioned this handicap match. While he was in the ring, David Ali came out. Joe Black came out. Owen Knight came out. All these guys came out. And I think David initially was just frustrated that he was having to go up against Austin Towers later that evening. Yes. Meanwhile, Joe Black and Owen Knight were kind of frustrated, thinking that, hey, we're in line for this title. We want a title opportunity. So Gary dropped the big bombshell on everybody that coming up October 8th, it's Still Here 3, the first ever in SHW War Chamber match, kind of like a War Game style match, but instead of teams, you have 6 individuals, and the winner by pinfall submission will become the new SHW champion, or perhaps I don't want to spoil the ending of the show if you hadn't seen it yet, but David could retain. I don't want to say there's going to be a new champion, but so there you go. And then what ended up happening out of that was we had an impromptu match between Joe Black and Owen Knight.
Right.
It was crazy. Right.
Yeah, you know, first of all, what we have not talked about is the absolute promo clinic that happened during that. Okay. Like, I mean, Ether, it was just crazy.
That promo by itself is enough to subscribe to IWTV.
I mean, seriously.
That promo by itself.
You could take the promo and put it on a loop. It was just incredible to see the things that Joe Black had to say about everybody. Nobody was safe. And these moments are incredible to watch. And then for it to lead to a one-on-one match between Joe Black and Owen Knight, 2 guys who really should be in the title picture. One, you know, a former winner of the, not a former winner, he won Rumble Jack 2020, former SHW champion. The other found himself in pretty much the finals of the last 2 Rumble Jacks. You know, I think this was a match that, had there been any promo leading up to it, could have gotten 1,000 people in the room all by itself. Yeah. This is a match that we have wanted to see and didn't know we wanted to see. And here it is, we got it. And to some, it may be a shocker. Owen Knight walks away with the clean win over Joe Black. That's an upset in a lot of places. And for me, you know, to go into the War Chamber, a match we've never seen, which we'll talk about at some point, Owen Knight, man, what a huge match. What a huge showing. A lot of momentum and an incredible opportunity awaits Owen Knight, I think.
Yes, of course. He just beat the former SHW champion who did not lose his title due to pinball.
Absolutely.
Big key point right there is that he never was pinned. He had to relinquish that title due to injury. And that was, what does that do for the momentum for Owen Knight? It's huge going into the War Chamber. Huge going into October 8th. So, but yeah, I think a lot of people were shocked when he got the clean victory over Joe Black. And but man, what a matchup between those 2 guys.
I think it shocked Joe just as much as it's not shocked everyone else.
Yeah. Because Joe had a lot to say even about Owen Knight as well. Yeah. And so that's why, just trust me, guys. Go on IWTV and watch this promo. It is something that is just downright amazing. And so I think, again, it might have served as a wake-up call to Joe Black that you can't take Owen Knight lightly. Yes. You have to take him seriously. And again, there's a lot of unknowns going into Still Here 3. We don't really know the rules of this War Chamber as of yet. We don't know if there are eliminations. We don't know what it is. So I don't know how one prepares for a match like this, but I do know going in with momentum, being able to say, I beat the former SHW champion is huge. Yeah, it's huge. So shout out to Owen Knight, man. And could it really work for him to be war ready going into the War Chamber? I think there's a possibility there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Well, speaking of former SHW champions, that brings us to the next matchup. Logan Creed, who we found out is now going by the name The Heathen Cruel, brought out to the ring by Brooklyn. And his original opponent, unable to make the show, and we found that he'd be taking on Sean Christopher, who Sean Christopher, he's been around the Indies for a little while, around the Southeast. Now, we're not that familiar with him in SHW. This was his first time there. But, GB, you brought up an interesting connection.
Yeah. It just so happens that the last time Logan Creed was on IWTV, which was outside of SHW, he was in a match with Sean Christopher. And Sean Christopher actually put him in a coffin. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll just tell you, you've seen Logan Creed, a massive guy. I don't know how he did it. I do know he kind of runs a cult. They're just a wild group of people. And so naturally, Logan Creed would have revenge on his mind. The problem is, this wasn't exactly Logan Creed.
No.
This was something else.
As I was told.
Oh God.
They very closely nose to nose with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
His name, The Heathen Cruel. So.
And it's interesting because even Brooklyn has changed. You know, at one point, Brooklyn was this very nice, sweet person who we were glad to see and who was kind and considerate. And now it's just like, no. I mean, her attire has changed. Her approach has changed. And she seems to be the only one that has any degree of control over this Heathen Cruel. And
do you think she's controlling him, though, or is she actually does not have control? She's just hoping she can control him.
Well, it looks like she's controlling him, but it looks like she lost control the other night.
Yeah, maybe lost control.
But I think she's pulling the strings, and sometimes I wonder if, you know, she allows him a really loose leash to do a lot of damage, and then goes, oh, okay, all right, bring it back.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you talked about that connection with Sean Christopher. The other connection we found out, too, was that he's the boyfriend, I guess, of Ravenna Vane.
He is.
And so Ravenna actually came out to the ring. So Cruel, I almost said Logan, but I got to get used to saying Cruel, I guess, now. Now he's got this creepy mask and this whole new demeanor. He wrapped that chain around Christopher's neck and started pulling on it very similarly to what he had done to his former tag team partner, Sunny Days, not too long ago. Yeah. And eerily similar to what happened to his former partner. And so Ravenna Vane comes out, tries to get him to stop. Then Brooklyn kind of shoves Ravenna towards Cruel. You're thinking the worst, obviously, like, oh no, something bad's about to happen. Luckily, Sunny Days shows up with his own chain wrapped around his fist, jumps in the ring, gives him a couple right hands, can't even take him off his feet. With those shots with the chain on his fist, and he eventually clotheslines him over the ropes to the outside. And GB, you and I got real nervous for a split second because he came right at us.
Yes,
just that look on his face, those like dead eyes.
Yeah.
And then one of the most horrifying things I think any of us has ever seen at an SHW show. We were all scared to death, but our gear guy, our ringside gear guy, our buddy Zach. For no reason whatsoever, Logan goes over, picks him up, slams him through the table, and I think one of the scariest moments perhaps we've ever witnessed at SHW.
I still can't speak on it.
Yeah, I mean, we were all speechless. We couldn't believe what we had just seen. It was insane.
Yeah. It was by far one of the most deplorable moments we've ever seen in SHW. Zach, who ironically that night just debuted his new t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Like, Zach's got merch. Like, why are we so far behind, right? Like, Brandon, I think you and I are the only ones here in SHW with no merch.
I keep telling you.
You know what? Yours is gonna be you mixing like cupcakes, and I'm gonna be eating the cupcakes.
Exactly.
There we go. Good
and
t-shirt.
Diana, in case you did not know, you know, those cupcakes were from Crozier, right? They were from, yes,
I
they were
told
not.
GB. I told GB. He said, "Well, yeah." Then they say they were from like Honduras or some fancy place.
That's what
And
they said.
I said,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm pretty sure the sticker on the tray that I was holding said Kroger." And
No,
GB
no.
corrected me and said, "No, no,
Yeah.
no, it was
They're from
Crozier."
Crozier.
Ah,
That's where they're
Yeah.
from.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
Do
what they
they
So
said.
just like send them over and they import them? Okay.
yeah, I mean,
Apparently.
listen, they have better connections than I do. But
Anyways, back to
yeah,
Zach.
but yeah, Zach, man, I mean, like seriously, he had just debuted his shirt that night. Like this is a really big night for Zach.
Yeah.
And you know,
He's sold a handful of them already.
yeah, I mean, like he's getting orders, he's doing all kinds of cool things. And you know, Zach, he literally grabs the gear. He's a fan, he doesn't bother anybody, just a gentle, kind soul.
The
And
sweetest thing.
oh my gosh, just amazing. And so, you know, I don't know, you know, to me, I think he being cruel should have been fined, maybe even suspended for putting his hands on Zach. Like this is just
We haven't heard, so I don't know what's come of the situation.
No, it was addressed. Someone mentioned it on Facebook, and it was addressed by Gary that Zach knew I guess the possibility of being hurt while he was close to the ring. I guess just as me and you and GB, so that he couldn't be fined because it was
that's absurd.
he went down there knowingly.
well,
I did not see that post, but that's absurd.
Yeah,
I agree.
you know, here, if there's one thing that David Ali taught us, it's that expressing your grievances to Gary Lamb don't seem to go very far, right? Like he thought, why should I be put in a title match? Instead, he gets put in a war chamber, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I just think, man, this is bad news. And I really hope Zach is getting better. And I think what people don't think about oftentimes is, you know, he'll obviously heal up physically, but it is the emotional trauma from something like that. I know for me, when David choked me with the bat, I just, you know, I don't like being around him. He stares at me every show and he puts the bat right in front of me to kind of remind me, like, I will do this to you. Like, listen, I know there are some, you know, announcers out there and other folks who want to get in the ring and feel like they have to have matches and stuff. But the truth of it is, I am an announcer. I am a commentator. I'm very proud to be there. I don't want to, like Brandon said, disrespect the ring. And my thought is, for those of us who work outside of the ring, there should be some sort of safety taken into play, right? Like, you know, the wrestlers are not supposed to beat us up, or we should not feel like we're going to be in danger. And I don't want Zach, especially coming into the anniversary, to feel some sort of danger when he goes around the ring. Like, if I'm Zach, do I want to be around the Heathen Cruel if he shows up in SHW again? I don't know.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be around him at all.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I will say, on the bright side, if there even could be a bright side to this, is that several days after the show, Zach's father did make a post saying that he was pretty banged up, bruised up, but he was doing all right. And I found out, I think we all three may have found this out, that he will be the gear guy coming up at the show tonight.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about. Hell Freezes Over. This is the big tapped out show. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
He's a trooper.
I was very excited to find out that he'll actually be there and he'll be the gear guy for that show. So
he's a trooper.
I don't know if he'll show up, if he might be limping or whatever, but he took.
We'll find it some help if that's the case, but just to know he's going to be there just does my heart good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, our bodies aren't made to go through tables. Our bodies aren't made to, you know, fall in the ring and things like that. And so, yeah, that just shows how much of a trooper Zach is. So shout out to you, Zach.
Yeah.
And we'll see you tonight.
Absolutely. Well, after that chaos, we had to kind of reset and kind of regroup, gather our thoughts, and then we had another tag team match with a tag team we had seen earlier in the night, Zicky Dice and Ashton Starr, taking on the team of All Star Special. Now, of course, Zicky and Ashton still in possession of the title belts. And luckily, and I think I might have said this to you at the show, GB, I was like, maybe enough time's gone by where they've forgotten what I did earlier in the show and we can just move on. And luckily, it didn't come up again.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. But we had a pretty good match on our hands. And if you notice, by the way, Logan Chase not in attendance after he had been attacked by the person in the hood and the mask at the previous show. Was not there. But we had a pretty good match on our hands until Tech X shows back up wanting their tag title belts.
Rightfully so.
It looked like Ashton and Zicky were just going to take the belts and bail. Because I felt like, and I don't know, just from the looks of it, it looked like maybe they thought they couldn't get the job done. So they, you know what, we're just going to take the belts. We're going to bail. The match wasn't even over. Tech X stopped them. And we had a crazy referee decision here, because what we ended up hearing was that because Tech X, I guess, technically got involved and interfered, it got All-Star Special disqualified due to the outside interference, which was unfortunate for them because, you know, that puts a big L on their win-loss record. But
they don't have many L's on that record.
Right,
no, they don't.
right. But one of the crazy things that happened after that matchup was another appearance from this guy in a hood and a mask. And then not only one, but then a second one showed up.
Right.
And we come to find out there's a group called the Approved. And they're here. They what do they claim? They claim that, Gary, you know who we are?
Yeah.
And so apparently they have some beef with Gary Lamb. And we found out through SHW management, apparently they have been frustrated because they haven't been booked on SHW shows before. And they took it upon themselves to just show up and kicked open the door. And, you know, they had attacked Gary several months ago. Then they attacked Logan Chase rather at the last show. And then here they are attacking All-Star Special. So now we've got this group called the Approved to deal with on top of all the other craziness that's going on.
I still don't have, like, my initial thoughts and feelings about that whole situation. Still a little underdeveloped, I guess you'd say. I don't really have a feeling on that particular tag team of the Approved. I thought it was kind of shady.
Oh yeah,
how they came in and I mean, just come in through the front door, like you said. You know, if you want to come to Southern Honor, do it with honor. Why do you have to do it like that? I mean, you want to be a part of the best promotion in Georgia, you know, act like it. Don't do that underhanded stuff. I mean, it just, maybe they're just nasty. I don't know. I don't know much about them, but I guess we'll see, right?
The name of the promotion has the word honor in it.
Honor, exactly.
And if you notice, not just these guys who seem to lack honor, but we have some other folks on the roster that, I don't know. I always think about that. I'm like, where's the honor?
Yeah.
Right.
Come on,
right.
guys.
You know, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak talked about leaving the door open, and we've certainly tried to leave the door open for folks to come on in and try their stuff out here at SHW. You don't have to sneak in, right? The door is wide open. Buy a ticket, come on, reach out to people. You can do this. Here's the flip side to this, though. The flip side is Gary Lamb, in the last nearly 3 years of SHW, has not exactly endeared himself to the independent wrestling community. You don't say, right? Shocking. I know. You know, so with this series of attacks that have been happening, it could have been anybody, right? And this group, the Approved, my question is, did they come of their own accord? Or did someone send them? Because, again, the amount, you know, it's funny. Like, I watch shows like SVU and, you know, all these other types of shows. And one of the questions they ask when something crazy happens is, did the person have any enemies? Did they have somebody who might want to hurt them? Motive, right? The problem here is they are too numerous to count.
Yes.
I can't point my hands at just one, because when I point at one promotion, I can point hands at another promotion. And I can point hands at promotions outside of Georgia who don't exactly like Gary Lamb because he hasn't. I mean, so the possibilities right now are endless. And to me, I really want to get down to the bottom of it, because my concern with all of this is if you're mad at Gary Lamb, go after Gary Lamb. Don't go after the wrestlers in this promotion who've done nothing to you and likely don't know you. If you've got a problem with the head, go to the head. Don't beat up the body. And so I'm concerned about their attempts to, first they went after Gary, then they went after a manager. Now they've gone after a tag team. Who's next? I hope this gets resolved and quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what's going to happen with this situation going into SHW Still Here 3, but find out October 8th. And
they better not mess up our anniversary.
Yeah,
I think we need to rally the troops and just have a really good, barricade or something. Maybe just a really good opponent in case they do show up. So
we'll see.
Represent SHW.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But coming up after that was a match I think a lot of us were looking forward to. We knew there was a lot of history involving these two men back in their PCW days. And I was just anxious to see it in person because I'm talking about Jeter, by the way, Gunner versus Jeter. We had seen Jeter at the Rumble Jack, and it's just something about seeing him in person, being that close to him. You see videos and pictures, and you can tell he's a big dude. But when you're in the presence of this behemoth, I mean, he is massive. And I'd seen some of the old videos of these old matches several years back between him and Gunner. And I wondered, could Gunner still go toe-to-toe with this guy? And there's a major size difference, clearly. And I got to say, I think it surprised a lot of people. I personally was surprised because this many years later, I wasn't sure that Gunner could get the job done against a guy the size of Jeter. But it happened.
I just have to say, I know Jeter is huge. He walks in through the curtain, down the ramp, into the ring, and you're just looking at it's like a building moving through the building. But I couldn't stop looking at his feet.
They're huge.
I mean, the dude wears that's 18.
Whew. Can't find those in stores.
I was like,
special order, yeah.
Yeah, I just couldn't stop. I kept nudging Zach at the Rumble Jack. I was like, look at his feet, because that's a big dude. Yeah, that's a big dude. But Gunner did Gunner. He didn't disappoint. So.
Yeah, there have been tons of matches between them, and I remember watching one several years ago where Gunner had to have some help from some other people to actually beat Jeter. And so, I was intrigued that, of course, Jeter at this point, being the hired gun for Lethal Poison, didn't have anybody out there in the ring with him. Gunnar Miller didn't have anybody out in the ring, and Gunnar found a way to work through this, which I thought was a huge, huge situation. Congratulations to Gunnar. I got to tell you, I think Jeter in SHW should be a thing.
I'd be okay with that.
I can't disagree. I can't disagree a bit.
Yeah.
He's a spectacle. He's a sight to behold.
He is. Sure. He is.
Turn him loose on Cruel.
Ooh.
On Cruel or on Cyrus?
Cruel.
Yeah.
He's in my hot spot right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
Well, you mentioned Cyrus, and we just talked about Gunner. Again, we have another show that's happening tonight that we're going to get to in just a few minutes, and that's going to actually happen. But we'll get to that here momentarily. Moving on from that match, actually after that match, what did it take? Like 3 or 4 spears, I think, to finally get the job done. So Gunner wins the match and grabs the microphone. And Gunner doesn't do a whole lot of talking on the mic in the ring in front of the crowd. But he took this opportunity to call out Corey Hollis. You talked about Joe Black earlier in the night holding nothing back on the mic. Well, Gunnar Miller similarly doing the same thing, calling out Corey Hollis, getting a little personal, talking about Corey Hollis just having a baby recently and wanting to be a daddy now and stay at home. And now he's, too afraid to come back and get in the ring with Gunner and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, whoa, he's, letting him have it here. Yeah. And he laid out the challenge, a career versus career match. And I don't know when or if we'll hear from Corey Hollis. I would hope we will hear from him in the next week or two. And hopefully we'll see that match on October 8th at Still Here 3 as well.
That'd be a good one. There's some definitely some unfinished business there.
But the implications to that match, career versus career.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's finish. If you're gonna finish it, right?
Well, there's a level of finality to this one that is always, whenever I hear of people putting their careers on the line, you know, we had a great put his career on the line just a couple of weeks ago, and it always makes me nervous. You know, I don't know of an SHW without Corey Hollis. And in the last 2 years, we haven't known of an SHW without Gunnar Miller.
Right.
You know, these two are always in the title hunt, always at the top of the card. And, you know, the idea that this war is so severe that the only way to end it is for one of them to no longer be here. But it's not just SHW. They're quitting the business, right? Like this is, and so if I'm Corey Hollis, you know, I don't know if I'm accepting this match, right? I'm sure Corey Hollis still has other dreams, perhaps, and aspirations in this business, as does Gunnar Miller. And if I'm Gunnar, why would I make this challenge when Corey Hollis beat me in 2 minutes flat? And I'm thinking at that point, there was nothing on the line other than pride. What would Corey Hollis do if he accepts this match, knowing his career is on the line?
What are the stipulations? Did they say yet?
Who knows?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet. But I do know.
Accepted the.
If I'm Corey Hollis and I saw what he just did to Jeter, I'll be like, no way. Now you're right. Corey Hollis did beat him very quickly the last time they saw each other, but he had the steel plate on.
He
and
did.
Gunnar knows, I feel like, would know better this time. He'll make the referee check for weapons and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I think Corey, you talked about what would Jordan do in a match against Cyrus. How about you just stay home? Don't come in that day?
Yeah.
If I'm Corey, I'm not taking this challenge. I'm just
And honestly, he has just had a baby. His focus has not been on Gunnar.
It's weird to say that because I almost sound like I'm defending Corey Hollis, and Corey Hollis is not the most pleasant person that I would really care to defend. But I'm just saying, if it were me, if I were in those shoes, I'm not putting my career on the line against a guy that I just saw beat this mammoth, behemoth Jeter.
Or better yet, if I've beat you, I don't have to come back and beat you again.
Yeah.
So my question is, what is Gunnar going to have to do to entice Corey to be able to accept this match?
That's the question. Yeah.
You know, if I've already beaten him, now I'm happy at home with my child. You know, we saw an interview that he did where he said he had nothing left to prove. So what is going to get him angry enough? And that actually is what scares me. I don't know what Gunnar could do in the next couple of weeks, but when Gunnar knows you personally, that gets frightening.
Yeah. It's gonna get interesting between now and the anniversary show on October 8th. So I can't wait to hear how that all plays out. But you know, you talked about the match where Corey had the steel plate on, ended up winning in like less than 2 minutes or whatever the time was. Well, that kind of brings us to the next matchup here, where both of these ladies have taken losses in record time. Danny Jordan a few months ago gets beaten by this newcomer, Rekka Tahaka, in record
The queen.
time. However, is she still? That's my question to you, GB.
Yes, she's still the queen.
Did you see what happened at SHW 31?
I was there. I saw what happened. She was hoodwinked. She was bamboozled. She was run amok. It was not a fair fight. This was some newcomer from Mucha Lucha who she fought, didn't have time to prepare for, to only reveal themselves as Danny Jordan. That's not even right.
Well,
I don't know, GB. I mean, if you're the queen, shouldn't you be prepared?
Listen.
Anything?
She is. Listen. Even a small loss to somebody who cheated doesn't cost you your queendom.
But
she didn't cheat.
How did she cheat, though?
How did she cheat?
Before she revealed herself.
Deceived her into thinking she was someone she was not.
So you're saying that she knew it was Danny, she would not have lost.
So if I put a mask on and disguise my voice and call myself something else, and then so you've got a guest commentator today, and then I reveal I'm not a guest. I'm here. I'm me.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with
Deception.
Ew, no. So you're saying she beat her in a mental game?
I'm saying she did not say I am. When the queen came to SHW, the queen didn't hide under a mask. The queen didn't run and just say, the queen gave her fair warning. The queen gave her months to prepare herself and then came in and wiped the floor with her. That's what a queen does. This was some malarkey here from Danny Jordan.
I love that word. I just
malarkey.
It is. So to me, I'm like, the truth of it will be at this upcoming anniversary here. Can Danny Jordan win in a fair fight? She already lost in one fair fight. We'll see.
Here's the thing.
But you will not take her queendom away from the queen.
The exciting part happened after the match. Danny gets on the mic, challenges her one more time at the anniversary show, October 8th, and lets Rekka choose the stipulation. That's what I'm excited about, because Rekka said, I'll take your challenge, but we're going to do it my way, and we're going to have a Samoan strap match. The first ever in SHW Samoan strap match. I can't wait for this.
I have no idea what to expect, except I'm fearing there's going to be a lot of welts and bruises and smacks and screaming. I mean, to me, I don't want to.
But I feel like this will finally determine once and for all whoever can win this match, who the true queen is in SHW. Will you admit, GB, that if Danny Jordan is able to pull off the victory, she would then be the queen again?
Here's what I will tell you. When Queen Rekka Tahaka defeated Danny Jordan, she used no chicanery. She did not use any sort of hidden tricks. She didn't hold on to the rope. She didn't hold her tights. She beat her fair and square. If Danny Jordan can do that to attempt to reclaim her kingdom, then we'll have to acknowledge it as such. But I'll tell you what, in a Samoan strap match, I don't know, because I've never seen the queen with a strap, because I refuse to get out of line in the kingdom. All right. Okay. But the reality of it is, when you get out of line in the queendom, this is what happens. You get a strap. So I don't know if Danny's ever been in a strap match before, but I'll tell you what, the real mean girl is going to have to live up to her name if she's going to look to get past the queen, Rekka Tahaka, in a Samoan strap match. It's going to be a brutal, brutal night. Long live the queen.
Now, look, and GB, you'll recall this. Diana, I don't know if you remember or not, but this is one of our very early episodes. I told the story of being involved with Jeff Jarrett in a lumberjack strap match.
Yes.
So I've seen these. I've seen these straps. I've hit flesh with these straps. Jeff Jarrett, by the way, I hate that guy, by the way, but I strapped him real good. But I'm just telling you, these straps are no joke.
Let me tell you something. When I was a little kid, all right, this was while it was okay for parents to discipline their children.
Did you have to go pick a switch? Like
I had to pick a switch. But then I got beat with a paddle and with a belt. And let me tell you something. Getting beat with your own belt does not feel good at all. Okay.
I had to pick one of my dads, so no.
See? And that's from someone who says they love you. Yeah. There's not exactly love going on here between the queen and Danny. So this is going to be a sight to behold.
I was kind of surprised that Danny let or offered to let Rekka choose the stipulation, because now Danny, this is totally Rekka's ball game here.
It is.
She's making the rules. A Samoan strap match. She's the Polynesian savage.
Danny had to do that. You have you listen. When you're in this country, you have to honor what the president says, whether you like him or not. When I go to another country, I got to honor what the king or the leader there says. When you come into SHW, you have to honor what the queen says. And that's why she gave her that opportunity to say, Queen, what kind of match would you like to have? And the queen obliged. Now the question is, can she beat the queen at her own game?
Oh, I don't know.
Gee.
I don't know. It's going to be
I'm just saying.
The thing is, so that's I've lost count already, but we've already found out about numerous matches going into the anniversary show. The card has not fully been released yet, but I mean, it's already shaping up to be one heck of a show. And
I'm excited.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are all excited, and let's get into the main event for SHW 31, the big SHW title match. David Ali defending against Austin Towers. Now, one thing Gary had said earlier in the night, he talked about the War Chamber match. He mentioned that if David Ali lost tonight against Towers, then he would not be allowed to enter the War Chamber. Right. Towers would go into the War Chamber and defend the title.
Mm-hmm. So David would not get a rematch.
Right, exactly. And so that brings us fast forward into the title match later that night. David Ali, Austin Towers. And what a match it was.
It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
Very physical match. Yeah, very, very physical match between these two, which is what we expected. I think there was a lot of pressure on Austin Towers. He had come here on the show to talk about, some of his the guilt that he felt about creating the monster that is David Ali, and that it was, his journey. It was his responsibility to be the vaccine for the virus that is the champion. And so there was a lot on his shoulders, plus history. Every Rumble Jack winner has gone on to win the SHW championship when they got that opportunity. So there was a lot of pressure, I think, on him. And I think it was just a really crazy match, a really crazy night. I don't know how much has really been settled between these two as a result of that match. I'm sure Towers was disappointed that he didn't leave with the championship, even though, he seemingly got the win by disqualification. Just another crazy night in the reign of David Ali, which, again, by hook or by crook, he manages to leave as SHW champion.
Did we ever hear why David turned on Austin? Do we ever figure that out? What his reasoning was?
Why does David do anything?
You're right. There's no reason, but I mean that if Austin Towers was like on my team, ain't no way I'm about to kick him in the head and make him mad with me. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that.
Absolutely,
There had to be a
great point.
Well, it's like he had to cut everybody loose so he can just be David.
I almost think that it was because he knew that people like us and the fans and everybody else were just crediting Towers for the reason he's holding on to the belt. And he got to a point where he thought, you know what? I'll show you that I can keep it by myself. And I don't know that for a fact. That's just kind of my thought.
That's a good point, because he obviously showed that he could keep it by himself by beating Austin. So.
And history has also shown us that David does not play well with others.
No.
And so, at some point in time, perhaps we knew this was going to happen, although it didn't seem like, it would happen, because this time David was the star of the show, right? And it's just wild. But again, David's mind doesn't work like everybody else's. Think about it. We don't run around calling ourselves the savior, right? We don't demand people's allegiance and loyalty by any means necessary.
We certainly don't walk around doing that gross tongue thing that he always does.
We don't, we just don't.
Somebody's got to have a Jesus meeting with him.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, but here's the sad part. Whatever he's been doing has been working. He's the only person this calendar year that has held the SHW championship. And that is a scary thought when you think about it. And he keeps defending it everywhere. He defended it at the joint venture between SHW and Mucha Lucha. He's just everywhere defending the SHW championship, and he's got a title defense tonight. So, I mean, it's not like...
Yes, too, am I right?
He does, and that's the other thing. He's carrying more titles now, right? So it's hard to say that what he's doing isn't working, even if we don't like it, because you've got results, and that continues to fuel, the fire that is David Ali.
Well, we're going to see if he can still retain the title at October 8th at SHW Still Here 3 in that War
That's
Chamber
if he gets
match.
through tonight, though.
If he's got, he's got
You're
to
right.
win tonight.
You're exactly right. He's that dude, John Davis.
That could put a whole different twist on this War Chamber.
It really could.
I tell you
really
what.
could. Talk about hell freezing over.
So here's the thing. We got the big War Chamber match coming up at the anniversary show. But as we mentioned before, we were going to get to it here later in the show, and now here we are later in the show. Tonight is Hell Freezes Over, the big Tapped Out Wrestling podcast show. It's their 5-year anniversary. So in celebration of the 5 years, they've gotten with Gary Lamb and management at SHW to use the Action Building, home of SHW, to put on this big combined effort, this big super show, if you will. And GB, you talked about opening the door earlier and the big world of wrestling. You've heard all this talk about the forbidden door. Well, here in Georgia, the forbidden door for Georgia indie wrestling has been kicked open. You've got 8 of the best promotions in Georgia. And let me just run them off real quick. You got IWE, Anarchy Wrestling, Disruptor Wrestling, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Mucha Lucha, Viral Pro, PCW, and of course, Southern Honor Wrestling, all coming together to put on this massive card here tonight at the Action Building. And I'm telling you, I never thought we would see something like this. And, like I said, AEW is doing this Forbidden Door where New Japan and Impact and NWA and all these companies are working together. And now here you're seeing it on the independent level here in Georgia. It's crazy.
Shout out to the Tap Night guys.
Yeah, it is a special time in the world of wrestling, and you're right. Shout out to the folks at Tapped Out for just all that they've done for the wrestling community. And it really speaks very highly to how they are regarded to be able to put a card together of this magnitude. This is huge. This is historic. And if you're watching us, I hope you'll consider making your way right now to the Action Building because we're going to be there. A lot of your SHW favorites are going to be there, but it is an opportunity for you to witness history. I don't know how many more times we're going to get to see 8 promotions with 8 different championships on the line in the same night in the same building. It's really going to be something historic. And so I'm excited that we get to be a part of it.
Yes.
Of course, our lovely ring announcer who is award-winning, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. That would be her, Diana Michelle, sorry. She is going to be the ring announcer. Of course, we'll be doing commentary along with
award-winning commentary team.
Well, thank you very much.
Please don't forget that, ever.
Well, there it is. Let the people know. Along with John Johnson, we'll be handling commentary. It's going to be an incredible night. So I really hope that you guys will make your way out. We're actually going to wrap up in a little bit, I'm sure, and go change.
I gotta get changed.
Yeah, but
Right.
I'm excited. This is going to be a great night.
And I want to give, before we wrap up, because we're kind of pushed to the time here as it is, but I do want to give you a quick rundown of the card that's coming up here tonight. Hell Freezes Over. It's a Tapped Out anniversary show. And like GB said, doors are opening at 7, bell time's at 8. So if you're anywhere nearby, come on out. Tickets are still available at the door of the Action Building. So let's talk about real quick some of these matches. You're going to have a 6-person tag team match. It's Lucha Rules. It's presented by Mucha Lucha Atlanta. It's our very own Owen Knight joining the international superstars Blanco Loco and Dream Girl Ellie make up one team. They're taking on Bobby Flacco, Carly Bravo, and a mystery partner, which I'm going to assume, maybe I shouldn't assume, but I would think maybe it would be another female since you have Dream Girl Ellie on the one team, but I don't know. But I do know that all 5 that I've mentioned are great athletes, going to put on an amazing match. So that's a 6-person Lucha Rules tag team match. Should be something special. One thing that I've got my eye on, and GB, you and I know this guy from the Nightmare Factory. His name's Duncan Mitchell.
Yes.
He happens to hold the Dealer's Choice Championship from PCW, Platinum Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a set opponent for the night. However, it has been announced that he will be defending the belt under 24/7 rules. Now, you've seen the 24/7 title in WWE. You remember the hardcore title back in the WWF days, which was defended under 24/7 rules, which means anywhere, any place, as long as you have a referee with you, you can, try to win the title, try to make a pin and win the belt. So,
if I'm not mistaken, the very first Dealer's Choice champion, do you guys know who that was?
I don't.
Who was it?
Hold my beer.
Oh,
well.
How
Well, we'll
about
get to
that?
him. We'll get to him in a second because he's also on the card for tonight.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe he'll try to get the title back from Duncan Mitchell.
Sure might.
All I'm saying is, if they come anywhere near the commentary table, and if the opportunity presented itself,
oh Lord,
I'm just saying
against it.
I don't know. Do you remember recently? I don't know if it's in the last year or two. Well, Pat Patterson died recently, but it was like prior to that. Was it him or Jerry Briscoe or maybe both? At one point, won the 24/7 title.
Yes, they both did at one point. Yes.
So I'm just saying, anything can happen in the world of pro wrestling, GB. You might see an opportunity where you might try to make a pin. I don't know.
I will tell you this, and I'll be very clear. We took this picture at the last show where all three of us were holding the gold.
Felt pretty good, didn't
it? It did feel great. It felt great to be in the ring as well. But I will say this: I have no desire to pin somebody while I'm in my blazer. Okay. And I'll say this. Well, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to pass this test. I'm going to pass the test. I'm passing the test. I'll just pass this test.
Well, I will say for you, and I don't know where I don't know what you were going to say, but I'll say this for you. But I know that at the last show, I believe you ended up with some moonshine or some beer from a certain tag team match. Yeah, and so I understand the frustration of getting the custom blazer because it's custom from head to toe, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen,
and so I get it, but we'll see.
Listen.
Well, if we see him slip that blazer off, maybe then.
If I slip the blazer off, maybe. But
all I'm saying is that earlier this week, let me just say that I've had a little back and forth with Duncan Mitchell on Twitter. I'll just put it that way because I told him, I said, "Hey, I see that you're defending with 24/7 rules," and he replied, "Oh no, not you too." And so I was like, I mean, stranger things have happened.
I'll tell you this. You're right. Stranger things have happened. I mean, apparently of all of us at the commentary booth, some of us have actually been in the ring. I won't use any names. But the reality of it is none of us have worn gold. So, Brandon, if you decide to become a champion, that would just I mean, like, we already have awards. Now we can say we're champions.
I would be a champion on behalf of V3.
I'm totally fine with that. Represent for us.
Could you imagine this guy holding up the PCW Dealer's Choice Championship? I'm sorry.
Somebody might roll over in their grave. I don't know.
I would love that. We would be like pictures now because we don't know how long it's gonna last.
Right. It'd be the talk of the town. That's for sure.
Tell you what, man. We'll see. Duncan Mitchell, watch your back, buddy. That's all I'm saying. This other match that we have coming up, Ray Fury, Ashton Starr. Now, Ray Fury, if you've been following SHW for any length of time, this was back within our first year. Ray Fury showed up on one of our shows and put on an amazing show. He wears the lucha mask, very, high flying. It's just a lot of fun to watch. And of course, we all know Ashton Starr. And so these two will be going one-on-one, which should be an incredible match. You talked about earlier David Ali working double duty. Well, Carly Bravo is also working double duty. Carly, I mentioned, is in that six-person tag match, I should say, earlier in the night. And it'll be Carly Bravo taking on his overkill brethren, David Ali, for the IWE New Age Championship. Now, I don't know that there's any kind of heat between these two guys. I think it was the tapped out guys just wanting to put this match together and see if Overkill. I think it was
actually the promoter for IWE who did this to David.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
So apparently, just like SHW, he doesn't make any friends there either. Apparently,
he makes no friends anywhere, and so I'll tell you this could either be an amazing night for David Ali, walking out with the 2 belts he walked in with, or it could be a horrible night for David Ali, walking out beltless.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Well. And again, there's 8 championship matches. I think 10 matches total. 8 of them have titles on the line. Another title match, the Anarchy Wrestling Championship. Of course, their champion, Will Caution, who we saw Will Caution at this year's Rumble Jack. Yeah. He'll be taking on Techi Makuji, which should be an amazing match. Seeing Techi has been at Southern Fried a bunch of times. He's all over the place as well.
Yeah.
So is Will Caution. So that's going to be a great match. Now, here's somebody we talked about just a little while ago, Hold My Beer Hansen. Him and his partner Huckabee, All-Star Special, are the Viral Pro Tag Team Champions, and they'll be taking on the Undeniable, Shane Marks and Brian Blaze, of course, along with Matt Hankins. And the Undeniable has made the bid for Tag Team of the Year many, many times. And
won last year.
Yeah, and this should be a pretty amazing matchup here for the Viral Pro Tag Team title. So I don't know how good I feel about it. All-Star Special to me are kind of like our home team guys coming from SHW, even though this is for the Viral Tag Championship. But I don't know.
That match there is kind of close to my heart. And I'm going to tell you, all of those guys, all 5 of them, Brian, Shane, Matt, Huck, and Hanson, they all go back with me to AWN, and I mean that's where I started. So
yeah,
they were all there. I mean, Hanson came in a little bit later, but that was the passion. Matt and Shane and Brian and Huck, that was the passion. And God, the interviews that we had, oh my God, if I could just show you those interviews, one day I'll share them. But I mean that whole match there, because that's like my day ones right there.
I remember you doing an SHW interview with Huck backstage one time, and it was the first time you were there, I think, doing an interview, and Huck looked at you and was like, what are you doing here? Kind of like one of those things where like he knows you from the other place. But yeah.
He also told me he was glad I was wearing shoes, because he always said I'm a barefoot redneck girl.
Yeah. I didn't understand the reference.
We didn't have a good relationship back then.
I see.
Things have changed.
Well, there you go. We stayed all the time about Huckabee. A year and a half ago, he was having a dog collar match with Joe Black, and then he was like hated by all the fans, and then next thing you know, he's on one of the most popular tag.
It's
amazing what a little moonshine and Sweet Carolina do for you, right?
There you go. Moonshine and Sweet Carolina. There you go. I love it. We have a triple threat match, which actually 2 of the Disruptor titles are going to be on the line, because AC Mack and Very Morales hold titles for Disruptor Wrestling. And they're actually going to be taking on Slim J. Okay, now Slim J, to my knowledge, at least within the last few months, I thought he had retired. Apparently, he's coming out of retirement for this triple threat match, and it's going to be a winner-take-all for the Disruptor titles. And, of course, we know AC Mack very well. We know Very Morales pretty well, coming through a few times at SHW. Slim J, if you'll recall, he had been announced for our tournament that was going to happen last year, but then, of course, COVID happened and put the brakes on the tournament. So we didn't get to see Slim J. So we're finally excited to see him inside the Action Building. And I feel like this one's kind of any guy's ball game here for this triple threat match. I don't know if you guys have a pick or not, but
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
At first, I'm excited to see Very Morales back in the Action Building. I think the fans really, really took to him the couple of times he was with SHW.
Yep.
And of course, AC. Can't wait to see what he's going to do. I mean, honestly, I'm going to give him the mic and screw it. I'm no longer trying to announce him.
You just know the drill.
Let him do his thing. I've only seen Slim J once, and it was a dang good match, because he's got skill. He's a high player, and he's got some bounce all over the place. It's like a little pinball, but I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. One thing is for certain, there will be a title change in that match.
Yes.
So that's a guarantee. So for me, stuff like that always, jazzes me up. So I'm looking forward to it.
We have a special attraction match. It's a one-on-one matchup that I'm very excited about. I remember watching these guys on one of the Eddie Kingston Grindhouse shows last year. And, of course, they have a history that goes well beyond that show. They're both North Carolina guys and both kind of came up together. In fact, Joe Black told me recently that this guy that he's facing, J.D. Drake, was kind of his mentor early on in Joe Black's career.
Wow.
And so, of course, fans that might not know J.D. Drake from back in the day know him currently as part of the Wingmen in AEW. However, if you know that version of him, you may be surprised when you see what he's going to bring tonight at Hell Freezes Over, because if you know him from years past, you know what I'm talking about. Both these guys with that kind of Japanese strong style, it's going to be one awesome match, and I can't wait. Joe Black, J.D. Drake here tonight. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's
no doubt.
Going to be crazy.
No doubt.
I first came into J.D. Drake in Evolve, and he was a champion there in Evolve. And you talk about strong style. So these two in a match together, good grief. Sign me up.
It's going to be great.
You got free tickets, man. You got ringside seats.
Well, there it is.
Luckily, I was going to say, GB, luckily for us, we're there, man. We're front row.
Look,
I love it.
I'm so honored and hyped to be calling this show. It's
yes.
Gosh.
It's going to be so good. Of course, we got the two big title matches coming up towards the end of the show here. And, of course, I'm talking about Southern Fried has a big Fatal 4-Way match. And, of course, SHW has our big title match. Now, here's the thing. Because I'm a bit of a homer, and this is taking place in the home of SHW, I would hope that SHW match would go on last. However, because of the men that are in this Fatal 4-Way for the Southern Fried title, I don't know that the ring could hold up after that match, and so it may be the one going on last just for the sake of the ring holding up. So for the Southern Fried Championship match, Fatal 4-Way, Judas. We all know Judas in SHW. Of course, he's the Southern Fried Champion. Versus Cyrus, versus Jeter, versus Gunnar Miller. You mentioned earlier you'd like to see Jeter and Cyrus face off. Well, we're going to get our chance here. And little did we know, if you go back to the Rumblejack, we didn't know it at the time, but there was one point in the match of the Rumblejack where all four of these men were in the ring at the same time. And if you remember, I remember at one point Gunnar going to spear Jeter, and he caught a knee instead. It was almost like he bounced right off of him. But it was just one of those things. I looked back at the pictures, after this match had been announced, and I thought, no, wait a second. These four guys were actually in the ring. We kind of got a little bit of a sneak peek there. So there's no telling. I have no pick in this one. I have no idea which way this thing can go. But I was going to say four monsters, really three monsters in Gunnar Miller, not to take anything away from him, but just a size difference between him and these other three men is he's got his work cut out for him. So I don't know who's going to come away with this Southern Fried Championship here.
Well, the good thing is that Gunnar doesn't have to take on them by himself. He can let them beat the crap out of each other and then pick the bones.
Smart.
Smart.
He sure can. I'm excited for this, and I know we haven't really talked about this much, but Judas has been all over the place in the world of pro wrestling as of late. Recently debuting in the NWA. And we know him, of course, at SHW. Many are saying that in terms of the front runners for Wrestler of the Year, it's David Ali and Judas. And, I'll tell you what, he's had that SFCW championship for a very long time. And so it's very hard to pry that out of his hands. This could be one of his toughest challenges. And I can't call it. It's going to be great. Well, I will be calling it, but I can't pick him. There we go. We go.
Has he ever had a SHW title match?
Judas with a title match? He's had a tag title, obviously.
Not a solo title match.
Right. So very interesting.
But we do know that he will be in the War Chamber for the anniversary. We do know that.
As per Gary's announcement at SHW 31, Judas was one of the ones that were mentioned. Yeah.
If he puts his sights on that title, and
there's a clear reason he hasn't. The reason is Corey Hollis,
right? But
so yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
If he makes it known that's where he wants, I mean, that's going to be my favorite there. I'm going to pick him. Judith.
Well, we mentioned the SHW title match as well, and David Ali
once again
taking on John Davis. Now, we mentioned David Ali would be defending in the War Chamber match, and that was my mistake because I was looking past this show here tonight because David Ali may not make it to the War Chamber, still your SHW champion. He's got to get past John Davis here tonight. He's got his work cut out for him, folks.
Could you imagine, though, if he did not retain and John Davis, who I don't know anything about him personally, and that might be just my fault, but I don't, but he just comes into SHW as the champion?
He's a big deal, but you're right, because a lot of SHW, he's never been in SHW, so a lot of the fans may, it would shock them, especially if they're not at the show tonight, and they show up at the anniversary show and go, wait a second, what?
No reason why you should miss the show, by the way. I mean, come on.
Oh, well, I want to take you back to 1990, right? In Tokyo, Japan. A guy by the name of Mike Tyson, who had not lost a professional fight, the undisputed boxing champion of the world, could not be beaten, was going over to Tokyo, Japan to simply make a lot of money to fight some no-name he had never heard of. Some guy named James Buster Douglas. Like, are you kidding me? Who in the world is James Buster Douglas that he could come up against the great Mike Tyson? Well, we know how history played out. History played out that 10 rounds in, Buster Douglas didn't just beat Mike Tyson, he knocked him out and became the new heavyweight champion of the world. On the match that Mike Tyson overlooked, it cost him the title. If David Ali overlooks John Davis, like some others might be, and they think, oh, it's a one-off, of course, David Ali's going to go into the anniversary. Listen, there was a whole future planned out for Mike Tyson. Tyson was never the same after February 1990. So to that, I say, John Davis has the opportunity to shock the world tonight. And if he does, trust me, the streets will be talking big time. And considering that Ali will have fought earlier that night as well, this is uncharted territory for David Ali. This could be the time. It could be the night.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like your analogy there, GP, but the thing is with John Davis, he's not that unknown. He's unknown to the SHW fans.
Absolutely.
However, in the rest of the indie world, they know who John Davis is. And
that's the thing. If Ali overlooks him and treats him like an unknown, preparing for the War Chamber, there may not be a War Chamber for David Ali.
Absolutely. And to your point again, he is going to be wrestling earlier in the night, another title match, that IWE New Age Championship. So I think, the momentum there.
I have a prediction on that.
Okay.
I honestly do. I'm getting these NWO vibes. These Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan.
You think we're going to see a finger poke of doom?
Are you talking about with David and Carly?
Ooh.
Perhaps.
They are overkill brethren.
But here's the other side of that. This whole overkill thing, which is taken over, right? The thing is, enemies fight one way, but good friends sometimes fight harder than enemies because they want to be able to prove who the bigger and better man is. So again, Carly has an opportunity to win gold. That doesn't come around every day.
Right.
So I don't know if he would just say, nah, I'm going to just throw that away for you, David. Don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm sticking with that.
I do know that Carly, again, he's another Nightmare Factory guy, GB, that you and I have seen come up, and we know that he's still fairly new in the game. Of course, he's made his appearances with AEW a number of times, and he's been around the Indies in the Southeast a number of times. However, still fairly new in the business, and when that opportunity for a title comes up, it's going to kind of perk your ears a little bit like, wait, what? Ooh, a title shot?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
But in the end game, would you feel prepared to be SHW champion or IWE champion when you're in a group with David Ali, who is?
I have a feeling if he were to beat David for his title, I have a feeling that that partnership would be done. I would think.
It'd be ugly because David's not over himself.
Right. Now, again, I can't speak for these guys, but that's just my thinking. If that was me and I just beat my, faction mate and he was pissed off about it, then I'd be like, well, all right, I'm out. But I got the title, so see ya.
Right.
Enter Randy Orton.
right. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm telling you, that's 10 amazing matches coming up here tonight. Doors opened at 7. The doors are open right now. So get out here if you're anywhere nearby. Tickets are still available at the door. You're not going to want to miss this, especially if you're a Georgia indie wrestling fan. This is a historic night because something like this never happens. This is crazy. We talked about that Forbidden Door. This is like the Georgia indie Forbidden Door where
who'd have thought?
Yeah, 8 promotions coming together, working together here at the home of Southern Honor Wrestling, the Action Building, 261 Marietta Road. Come on out, get your tickets, and come join us. We're all here, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great time. So we better go change our clothes and get ready for the show.
Yes.
Hair and makeup awaits.
Because bell time is at 8 o'clock, so it's right around the corner. But I got to tell you what, folks, it's going to be exciting. And then in the next couple of weeks leading up to the anniversary show, we'll be kind of telling you more about that. That card will we'll see the final card get laid out here before too long. So we'll be building that up with that big War Chamber match and all that good stuff. So we hope to see you here tonight. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.